coached a high school football team, Carl, that hadn't won a game in 5 years. What do you say to him? You say to him, well, we'll start off and win a couple games the first year if we're lucky. We had no idea we'd be that good. Gee, just the records themselves. Had I envisioned that we were going to average 47 points a game on offense and only give up 9 on defense and set an NCAA record for winningest margin of victory, I think 38.2. It was exciting. It was really just the greatest year I've ever had as a coach, obviously. By halftime, we were out ahead 31-0 against most teams.
It got real exciting then in game number 11 of the season because now you're on your home field, it's Cortland State, and Hofstra had a little pressure because they had never won a playoff game. Did you feel that pressure as well?
I didn't personally, but I got it from my players. I think it was Frank Cuco, one of our senior wide receivers, said to me, Coach, don't let that girl in that was selling NCAA T-shirts. I said, why? Well, she's a jinx. I said, well, Frank, let me tell you something. I said, you got the big jinx buster here. Don't worry about any of that stuff. We're going to be fine. But no, it didn't bother me, but it did bother our players, and we kind of had to get them out of that jinx thing.
Well, you kind of did because you started a little slowly in that game. It was only 6-2 at the end of the first half. Then you extended a little bit. You led 9-2, and things really got rolling because you kind of exploded, as Hofstra did last year in that second half.
I think, Carl, we were that kind of a football team. It took us a while to get going. The offense, here you see, made a big play by Frank Cuco. But I'll tell you what, one of the big factors in that game, people didn't realize it, was the fact that Rory threw 5 interceptions in the first half, and the win was a big factor. And you know, we scored a lot of points in that third quarter going against the win, and Cortland couldn't score. A couple key field goals, too.
But they did keep it close, Joe. There was no quitting that team, and they got close in 16-9 when Scott Barrett took it in from about 3 yards out. Were you concerned at this point?
This is the first time our team was tested all year. It was great. That might have been the second rushing touchdown that was scored all year against our defense. Yeah, we were, but, you know, it was good. It was good to be in a tight game.
But then the team rolled, Joe. They scored the final 19 points of the game, and this guy, a spark plug, Mark Cox.
Mark Cox does everything but sweep up the AstroTurf after the game. He is our Tom Matt. He's just a great multi-purpose runner, does everything.
All right, then you beat Cortland State by that wide margin. You go down to Trenton State, facing the #1 defensive team in Division III. Everyone said they would be a tough test. But again, Hofstra comes through in the clutch. Again, a lot of points in the second half, Joe.
Right, we couldn't get warmed up. We'd throw a lot of interceptions, a lot of turnovers. I was really proud of our defense in that game. They shut down Trenton State's quarterback. I think had 7 out of 41 completions. And of course, again, Rory and that big play offense, they just burn you. I mean, the momentum would switch as soon as Rory would throw those touchdown passes. It was an exciting game.
You know, you mentioned the defense while we were looking at those highlights, and of course, a tremendous score over Trenton State. Just blew them off their own field by 35 points. The defense, people talked about it, Joe, but they really didn't get the acknowledgement that they should have.
Our offense was excellent. If you have to beat average 47 points a game. But I think most people are like that. They don't understand. For example, in baseball, whoever hits the home run gets the credit, even in a 1-0 ball game. And as a coach, you get used to that. But in we were, for example, Rory, our first 2 ball games had thrown 11 interceptions. And in that Cortland State, he threw 5 in the first half. I said to him at halftime against Cortland State, throw 5 more because our defense is so good, we'll get the ball back. They were that way all year.
All right, you were on the road against Trenton State, okay? Now all of a sudden you come back and you have Lycoming on your home field. Biggest game probably in Hofstra history. 1 game away from the national championship. You played the game without that quarterback, Rory Moss, the record-setting quarterback who was not able to play.
Carl, I think if I had to do it over again, we might have played Rory. But yet, you know, I didn't want to compromise my integrity or the integrity of a great university in Hofstra. I was worried about what the media would say the following week. Gardy played that young man, Rory Moss, just to get to the playoffs. And I was cocky enough, and I had so much confidence in our team, and we've been doing that all year. We've been overcoming odds. And one of the players, as a matter of fact, said to us, when we let him know that Rory was not going to play, He said, I wonder what Guardy's going to pull off next week at the national championship. But I think what we did, we kind of got tight in trying to protect Timmy Lynch, who hadn't practiced in 6.5 weeks. I think we tried to protect him, and I think our players tried to protect Timmy, and we didn't play our game.
Before we look at the highlights of that Lycoming game, it should be noted that Rory Moss was exonerated on the use of steroids. Now, to that game, and Tim Lynch, who hadn't played because of mononucleosis, now steps in, and Joe, he did a real good job for you, except right here in a situation when you had a chance, Walt Kavanaugh couldn't hold on, but Tim Lynch played an exceptional game.
No question. I think he threw for 352 yards. This was a key drop right here by Walt. And one of the things that Timmy couldn't do, he hadn't worked against the blitz. And we had some things in our repertoire that we could do against the blitz, and we just wouldn't do it because Timmy hadn't been practicing in 6.5 weeks.
Was that a disappointing end to your season last year, Joe? One in which Hofstra went 12-1?
Sure it was, Carl, but yet I told my young men that we got to look forward to this coming season, of course, but I was very proud of them. I mean, this is something that's they're going to remember the rest of their life. We've got to bury that. We've got to get out of the comfort zone, but they're going to be winners the rest of their life because of that year.
And we'll be back with more right after this timeout.
In baseball, you only see a triple play once or twice a season. But at Elegant Entries, we turn to triple play every day because we always give every customer the absolute best in style, security, and installation. So join the Elegant Entries team today and turn to triple play for your home and family right now. And don't forget to check this week's newspapers for terrific triple play savings.
At Hofstra, the range of student activities and resources for learning is enormous. Over 100 student clubs, 5 student newspapers, outstanding residential facilities, 75 acres of recreational fields, over 60,000 square feet of indoor recreational space, an indoor 8-lane full-size Olympic swimming pool, Hofstra Vision, 18 cable channels and 4 channels programmed by the university. Hofstra University, we teach success.
The new RCA 8mm camcorder weighs less than 2 pounds. It's so small and light, you'll take it everywhere. That way, you won't miss a thing. It also has a super fast lens for great color and clarity in almost any light.
Come on, give me the slippers.
The new RCA 8mm camcorder. Another way we're changing entertainment again.
See the exciting new RCA home entertainment products at all Tops Appliance superstores in New Jersey and all P.C. Richard locations.
Part-time students. At most colleges, they don't feel a part of what's going on, a part of campus life. At Hofstra University, part-time students have the opportunity to enjoy a full-time college experience with all the benefits, all the privileges of full-time Hofstra students. For information, call 516-HOF-STRA. Hofstra University. We teach success.
This week, Ion Hofstra will focus in on 3 Hofstra graduates who are prominent businessmen and also played in the National Football League.
He's president of the National Helicopter Corporation of America, operating the country's largest sightseeing division. Don Gault quarterbacked the Cleveland Browns from 1968 to 1972. But it all started as a student athlete at Hofstra University in the mid-60s.
It was quite exciting. Hofstra played a very good brand of football at that time, aside from being a wonderful academic school. So I found it quite exciting. Many years of fun. It will always be reflected upon with joy. And met my wife while I was at Hofstra. She was a student at St. John's. And I'm directly involved with Hofstra today in the Hofstra Pride Club. And as a matter of fact, my daughter just transferred from Penn State to Hofstra. So I have direct ties from then and now today.
What was it like to play with the Cleveland Browns?
It was like a dream come true. I guess everyone aspires that if you're an athlete to move forward and have an opportunity to play professional football. On my side, I was very fortunate. Because I was an athlete, I had it paid for my education. And then at a later stage, to go forward and actually be paid for playing was like a dream come true. And I really enjoyed it. It was an educational part of my life, and I look back on it as an educational period. It helped me in team concepts and in business concepts, and I had a great time. Hofstra teaches success, and it allows you to prepare yourself for business after school. And as a football player, we learned a team concept and to work as a team. And in any business that you deal with, a team concept is people have to be at skilled positions and at different positions, and they have to come together and pull together. And that's a good business ethic to deal with. Most businesses have to have a team concept to work together. So both on the academic side and on the sports side, I think Hofstra gave me a good foundation to carry forward into business.
A member of the New York Jets World Championship team, Mike D'Amato, a 1967 graduate of Hofstra University, is now president of A-Drive Corporation, a vehicle and equipment leasing specialist.
When we went to school, Hofstra played Division II football, and we played a terrific schedule at that time. We were playing schools like Temple, Delaware, Gettysburg, Lafayette, and at that time they all had tremendous programs too. We got tremendous crowds out for our games. We would get 8, 9, 10,000 people to come to our games. We had an exciting quarterback and some great receivers and a great runner in Franny Lynch. We had 6 people from our team play professional football.
What was it like, though, to play on that championship team?
It was terrific. You know, I mean, again, it was my rookie season, and when you're winning in the pros, it's always great. And we had great camaraderie on that team. We had a bunch of characters on that team, I'll tell you. You know, guys like Curly Johnson and Larry Grantham and Rocky Rochester, they kind of kept the team going all the time, and we had a lot of fun. I mean, it was more than just the winning. It was that whole group together. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it very much.
How did Hofstra prepare you as an individual for life after sports when you had to go out in the real world and work?
I went to Hofstra because it wasn't for football. Football was just a means to pay for my education. I had been out in the real world, and I had realized that you know, I wasn't going to go anyplace unless I got my college education, and especially in business. And that's what happened. I went to college, and I worked at it. I graduated cum laude, and I was very proud of that. And I think it was part of the atmosphere. I think even at that time, I mean, we even stress it more now with our athletes, but at that time, it was very important. All the coaches emphasized academics, and I think that's been a tradition at Hofstra too. Most of my success has been because of my experience at Hofstra.
He'll tell you he was Joe Namath's hand warmer, but seriously, John Schmidt was a standout center in the NFL for 12 seasons. This 1963 graduate of Hofstra has owned and operated the John Schmidt Life Insurance Company for the past 23 years.
It was a small school, and it was great. It was really great. And it was really funny because Howdy Myers was the coach at Hofstra, and who had talked me into going to Hofstra after I had scholarships to Southern Cal and North Carolina and appointments to a couple of different mills. I had about 12 scholarships and appointments to the Coast Guard Academy and the Merchant Marine Academy. He says, you come to Hofstra, the people you go to school with here are going to be your friends for life. He says, they'll be your friends, you'll do business with them. And then he talked about the Merchant Marine Academy, you know, and he says, you know, they go out to sea for 6 months, twice during their 4-year term here. He says, do you have a girlfriend? And I said, yes. I said, Joanne Pagari, she lives in Massapequa. He says, it's only 15 minutes from Hofstra. I said, I'll sign, Coach, I'll sign, you know.
You played with one of the greatest names, one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played professional football. And to capture all the glory of that championship season, the Super Bowl, that had to be, I guess, the highlight of highlights.
It's a dream of, you know, it's such a dream of every professional football player. I was such a lucky guy to be in the right place at the right time with the right team, and to be with the people we played with was great. I mean, we had a very close unit. Now, you know, you hear the kids, you know, say, these kids today, they don't. We were really a close unit, you know. I mean, we didn't make a lot of money. We didn't win all the games either. You know, we had a lot of years, we had bad seasons, but we never lost a party, you know. And you've met Don and Mike, and they never lost a party either. They may have a better record than I do. But we were really a close-knit unit, and to be part of that and to win the Super Bowl, you know, we were going through it. We were just glad to have it over with. And then about a week after it was over, you realized what we had really done, you know, and then, God, you know, I wear the ring today. I never go anywhere without it.
I am sure in one way or another, roundabout way or another, Hofstra helped prepare for life after football. How did it do so for yourself?
Well, you know, when I went to Hofstra to be an athlete, and this is, I'm not kidding you, it didn't mean anything at Hofstra. You had to pull your grades. Matter of fact, I remember this one time, I'll never forget the man. His name is Dr. Siller. It was Math 144, statistics class. I walked in, this is when I was big, you know, 297. He was about 5'2", about, you know, 102 pounds. He said, "You a football player?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You failed." I said, "Why?" He says, "I hate football players." He said, "I've never been to a game." I mean, my heart dropped. I mean, he wasn't kidding. He hated football players, you know? Well, my crowning achievement that year was to get him to go to a football game, okay, which I did. He came to our Thanksgiving Day game for the first time in all the years he was at Hofstra. And I got a B in a course besides, and I earned it, and I had to earn it, and that was the thing. Sure, if you needed help, there were tutors there to help you, but you had to pull the grades. And what happened when I graduated from Hofstra, I had an education.
Aren't they three great guys, Carl? That's what Hofstra football is all about.
Super story, Joe. When we come back, we'll check in on a date with destiny.
As your car ages, it may need higher and higher octane to perform like it used to. But there is a gasoline specially formulated to control this higher octane need while providing the highest level of engine cleanliness. Texaco System 3. You'll get great performance in every octane grade. Still think all gasolines are the same?
I've always had this idea of what college should be. It's more than books.
More than classrooms. They're important, the most important.
But they're not everything. I wanted a real campus life.
A fuller experience, and I wasn't getting it. So I transferred to Hofstra.
To Hofstra.
To Hofstra.
For information, call 516-HOF-STRA. Hofstra University. We teach success.
Welcome back to the Hofstra Football Show with Coach Gardy and Joe. 1991's theme is a date with destiny. What does that mean?
Carl, it means that a great university, Hofstra University, has a date with destiny. A great bunch of young men, our football players do, and personally I do. I think everything I've ever done is to set up for this year, and we're looking forward to setting the pace for Hofstra football for the next 20 years.
New theme means a new quarterback, and that's Tim Lynch.
Timmy Lynch has got a high-powered offense. He's got to run it. He's a great field general. He's much better on the field during a game than he is in practice.
You have a host of wide receivers, but one of his favorite targets will be Wayne Morris.
We've got to find a way to get Wayne the ball. He's a big play guy.
You lost a trio of linebackers from last season's team. What about Bill Deakins? Can he fill the void?
Billy Deakins is our only linebacker with playoff experience returning. He's got to grow up in a hurry, become a Division I AA linebacker. I'm sure he will.
Does that worry you, though?
No, I really don't. I think he won some big games for us last year in the playoffs.
All right, and when we come back, we'll have a final word. Look ahead to Bucknell, Hofstra's first opponent. Stay with us.
If you were a professional painter, you'd want to go to the one store with the best paint and the one with the best equipment and the one with the best advice. Which is why, if you really were a professional painter, you'd want to go to just one store, Sherwin-Williams. The pros know. Ask Sherwin-Williams.
I've always had this idea of what college should be. It's more than books.
More than classrooms. They're important, the most important.
But they're not everything. I wanted a real campus life.
A fuller experience, and I wasn't getting it. So I transferred to Hofstra.
To Hofstra.
To Hofstra.
For information, call 516-HOF STRA. Hofstra University. We teach success.
The war for the Canada Cup continues. Can Brett Hull lead Team USA past a field of international superstars to rule the hockey world? Find out on Canada Cup 91. Team USA battles the Soviet Union live Saturday on Sports Channel. Sunday on Sports Channel. Howard Johnson leads the Mets as they hit the warpath against slugger Ron Gant and the surging Atlanta Braves. The Mets collide with the Braves live Sunday afternoon at 1:30, exclusively on Sports Channel.
Joe, right before the break, I mentioned first game Bucknell. Your thoughts on Bucknell?
Carl, it's a big game for both teams. Remember, we went up there, Bucknell's home opener, beat them. I think their coaches are talking to their players. This is a revenge motive for Bucknell. They've got a great running game. We both graduated about 5 on each side of the ball, so I think we're equal. They lost a great offensive line. They lost some secondary, but they've got a great running back and Hennessy back and quarterback who can move the football, played against us last year. I think it's going to be a great game. I hope we can pack those stands. It's going to be exciting for Hofstra, for Long Island, for everyone concerned.
Is there pressure on Hofstra to perform as they did last year in that opener against Bucknell when they did win?
Absolutely. Bucknell's coming down here trying to prove the win was a fluke. We're going to try to prove it wasn't, that we can do it again. It's exciting.
The run and shoot for Hofstra, we will see that again this year. And you said you might even throw the ball a little bit more. That's hard to believe, Joe.
We had to run the ball a little because we were ahead by so many rather than score 60, 70 points a game. We're going to throw 80% of the time this year, whether it's 60, 70 points. I hope we can get that opportunity.
Are you as pumped up for this game as you were last year for the first game of your rookie campaign?
Absolutely. It happens every year at this time. It's exciting.
You'll be there, right? I mean,
we'll
Bucknell,
show up.
Hofstra?
Absolutely. We're going to show up.
Any little quirks that they might throw at you that you're worried about, that you've looked at in game films?
I think Bucknell's game plan, Carl, is going to keep our offense off the field. And to do that, they're going to have to run it down our throats.
Joe, good luck against Bucknell in that opener.
Thank you very much, Carl.
All right, for Coach Gardy, I'm Carl Reuter, and we'll see you next week on the Hofstra Football Show.
There are moments in baseball that transform awestruck children into lifelong fans. Did you fall in love with the Bums because your dad bled Dodger blue? Or was it Yankee pride that drew your allegiance? Whatever the reasons, baseball has given us memories we can all cherish. That's why Sports Channel is proud to share some of these classic moments this fall. Baseball's greatest games, coming in October on Sports Channel.
Last year, Division I AA Bucknell opened its season at home against Division III powerhouse Hofstra University. The Bison jumped off to a quick 10-0 lead. At the start of the second half, Bucknell's Lester Erb ran back the kickoff, and the Bison led 22-14.
And Bucknell is going to score a touchdown on the opening kickoff of the second half.
But then the hammer came down. Hofstra scored on its next 4 possessions. They won going away 42-29 and never looked back the entire season. The Flying Dutchman won 12 straight, losing finally in the NCAA National Semifinals to Lycoming. Tonight, Hofstra steps up to Division I AA. Will Bucknell be the springboard to another monster season, or will the Bison ruin Hofstra's home opener and avenge last season's loss to the Flying Dutchman? The Metro football season opens tonight on Sports Channel.
Hofstra Stadium, Sports Channel presents the opening night of Metro College Football. Tonight, the Bucknell Bison take on the Hofstra Flying Dutchmen. Hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers, and welcome back to our third year of Metro College Football here on Sports Channel. We've got an outstanding schedule coming up for you. We hope you enjoyed tonight's game. We've got an outstanding color commentator this year. After 12 years in the National Football League, he's joined us this year, Marty Lyons, former star of the New York Jets. And Marty, what about the challenge for Hofstra moving up from Division III, they were a powerhouse, to 1AA?
Well, the first thing, Barry, that they're going to have to realize, they're going to be facing bigger, stronger, faster, more talented teams this year. And hopefully it won't wear them down toward the end of the season.
The Bucknell Bison, their opponents tonight, finished with a record of 7-4. They lost to Hofstra in their opener last year, played very well after that, but they lost 11 All-Stars from the Patriot League All-Star squad.
And the big factor, Barry, they lost a big beast. They lost their offensive line, the people that opened up the holes for their talented running back, Brian Hennessy.
Well, speaking of Hennessy, he's close to breaking all the records. What do you like about him?
Well, he's a slasher. He's a strong running back. He can pick his holes, and he knows when to dip his shoulder, when to go outside, and he knows how to get the needed yardage.
They only have 2 starters returning from last year's squad. Their defense is awfully good. Turning to Hofstra, Hofstra comes back, of course, decimated defensively. They lost 5 key guys defensively. What can we expect from them?
Well, first of all, to have a good offense, you need a good defense. Hofstra defense will be tested tonight. They lost all 3 starting linebackers. They have an excellent secondary, but their young people up front will be tested.
Offensively, that run and shoot produced about 47 points a game. Can they do it again with Tim Lynch replacing Rory Moss at the quarterback spot?
Well, I think Tim Lynch is going to be challenged tonight. He came in last year, threw 10 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, and is a quality quarterback. He's emerged as the leader, and in the huddle, you need your quarterback to step up and say, guys, this is what we got to do.
So the stage is set for tonight's showdown, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Metro College Football is brought to you by Hofstra University. Call 516-HOF-STRA. Hofstra University. We teach success.
Part-time students. At most colleges, they don't feel a part of what's going on, a part of campus life. At Hofstra University, part-time students have the opportunity to enjoy a full-time college experience with all the benefits, all the privileges of full-time Hofstra students. For information, call 516-HOF-STRA. Hofstra University. We teach success.
Calling out around the world, are you ready for a brand new beat?
It's clearance time, and your Tri-State quality Ford dealers slashing prices on all the 91s. So now's the best time to buy a new Ford Ranger. With all these features, you'd expect to pay over $12,000. But during clearance time, you can dance away with a new Ranger for just $92.37. Plus, with first-time buyers programs, save even more. It's your Tri-State quality Ford dealers factory authorized clearance.
Dancing in the streets,
Stick with Sports Channel in September for sizzling sports excitement. Metro College Football kicks off with coverage of local favorites Hofstra, Fordham, and St. John's. Plus, catch Sunday replays of Notre Dame and Syracuse. Host you with the Mets swing into September when they clash with NL East foes in 11 exciting games. Check out the world's elite skaters in an explosive international tournament, Canada Cup 91. And coming in October, baseball's greatest games. Sports Channel this fall. A lot to get excited about.
Back at Hofstra Stadium at Hempstead, New York on a sultry summery evening. Barry Landers, along with Marty Lyons. Let's go down to the field and join our sideline reporter, Carl Reuter.
Barry, thank you very much. You mentioned sultry. It is very warm. It's going to get heated up down here on the field. And moments ago, I talked to Brian Hennessy, running back for Bucknell, and I asked him about the revenge factor in tonight's game because you remember, Hofstra beat Bucknell last year in Bucknell's home opener. And Hennessy said they might have taken Hofstra a little bit too lightly. But remember, Hofstra had already played 1 football game, having defeated Fordham. One advantage for Bucknell coming into this one, Barry, as you know, they've already played a scrimmage. So they've been in a game situation. It could be a different story. And Hennessy said, yes, we would like to beat Hofstra on their field in the home opener for this season. Back upstairs to Barry and Marty.
Thank you, Carl. There's Joe Gardy, a guy you know very well, Marty Lyons. You played for him many years with the New York Jets.
Well, Barry, he was a great special team coach, a great defensive coordinator, and I would look early for the Hofstra team to come out something to surprise Bucknell tonight. It's an opening game. You can't have a good scouting report. He's going to show him something new.
Bucknell won the toss and deferred, and Hofstra will receive. Wayne Morris and Mark Cox, a couple of dandies, are back to receive the kickoff. We were watching this young kickoff man, Mr. Justin Frick, number 18, having some problems earlier in the day kicking off.
Well, he had a big problem kicking into the wind. When he had the wind with him, he was putting them out of the end zone. But his big problem was kicking into the wind. They were all low line drive kicks today.
The wind has died down considerably, and the 1991 football season is underway. Bucknell kicking off, short kick upfield. Will be taken at around the 23-yard line, fumbled by Hofstra, and recovered by Hofstra. They'll retain possession as the ball was finally recovered by Jeff Johnston, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Hofstra Flying Dutchman. Let's take a look at the starters for Hofstra, and of course Mark Cox is the key guy, the running back. Wayne Morris, the outstanding wide receiver, is back. And as far as the offensive line, they have some good people there. Stefan Chernaski and a newcomer, Chris Camera, at the offensive guard spot will really help.